American stand-up, they're always like, I went over to England, and English people are so polite, they do this, right? You people are the politest people in the world. Right? I'm getting people every day telling me to have a nice day, and I'm such a moody bastard. I'm looking at them going, I'll see about that. Don't you tell me what I should do with my day, you pompous American. Right? But the Brits are the rudest. Like, if you people think they're all polite and tit-bit tally-ho and walking around with bowler hats and, like, going, excuse me, and all that type of stuff, I can't say exactly what they say, but go to a football match and have your son's head kicked in front of you because he didn't know what the offside rule meant, right? Like, they're proper rude people.
Proper rude people.
Proper rude. And, like, no one tips or anything like that. Their beer is flat. Do you want to know why their beer is flat?
Why?
Right? Like, it comes through the taps flatter because they're cheap bastards, right? They want the beer to the top. They don't want any head on it whatsoever.
Right.
Because if there's a little bit of head on it, that means they're losing, 3% of the volume.
Yeah, no oxygen.
They don't like ice because that once again you don't get as
Water
much
and
drink
devil.
and everything, and because their teeth are so rotten, they're sensitive that they can't even drink fast.
Sensitive teeth.
They really
nice
do.
warm liquid.
They really do. They scoop the ice out of the drink, and they're a horrible mongrel breed.
They stink as a nation.
They do, but I live there and I miss it very much.
Yeah.
Well, and you were talking yesterday that there's racism, but it's different. It's not the typical black white racism thing.
They used to hate the black people in the 70s, right? And they had some very racist sitcoms.
They call them, what's the word they use there?
Nignog.
Nignog.
Oh, my God. Is that what it's called in England?
I'm not having that nignog come around my house. You know, that's everything, right?
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, nignog.
Wow.
Yeah,
Sounds like a drink you have on Kwanzaa.
Sounds like a
that used to be in sitcoms. They would say this word, and then
but that sounds like a sitcom catchphrase. I'm not having that nignog around my house.
All right, someone Google a show called Love Thy Neighbour that the Brits had on in the 70s, and the show was basically there's a white family and a black family. They live next door. How are they going to get along?
Actually, that's isn't that where All in the Family came from? I think.
No, that was Man About the House.
Till death do us part.
So the thing is,
Man About the House was Three's Company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
Man About that
day
house.
in this sitcom, he would call him Sambo, Nignog, all these type of...
Wow.
Jungle Bunny was another... Right? Like, and you go through the whole show, and then the black guy would call him Snowflake, like once, and everyone would go, well, now it's even. Now it's okay. The black guy's had his own, everything's fine.
Well, that's
Continue
what
on
I've
with
always
the hilarity.
felt about, black...
dumped?
They had...
What? Why were they dumping English versions of words in this context and discussion?
The description of what Jim was saying has been dumped every time.
Are you
serious?
Hysterical.
Well, I'm sorry.
You mean your fault? It's not
That's
your fault.
hysterical.
Not your fault.
There's no racism in England then.
I was speaking
That's
in
what
context.
Yeah.
That's what...
It
be
was
careful with that
completely
word, too.
It was completely in context.
Yeah.
And it's just...
These aren't my thoughts, people.
It's
My
describing...
dad, on the other hand, that's exactly how he thinks.
what the words are in England.
That's
like,
amazing.
no one would...
Wow.
It's funny
folks.
that's a bad word in England because it sounds so harmless.
Yes, it does.
It sounds silly.
Wow, that just stopped a hilarious
that's amazing.
segment of the Opie and Anthony show. You were on a roll too, my friend.
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny.
It made Jim leave the studio. He's going to march
It'd be
down
funny
the hall
if people
and talk
go to
Tom.
see him now because they take our word for it, and then there's just blank spaces in his act.
It's like, no, he was really doing the whole thing on the air, and
just.
Well, just for the record, there's no racism in England.
Not even at all.
I just wanted to be quite certain. There's none anywhere in the world. None.
No,
it's
none.
all love.
It is.
I bet you they didn't dump Snowflake.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And by not
Well, that's
talking
the thing
about
is
it,
that, but the words that black people can say about white people are they can't hurt because, like, the words that people call black people bring them back to all the terrible things that have ever happened to them. That's why they hurt so much. But you call me a cracker, And it brings me back. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I owned a lot of land and people. And
where does the word cracker come from? Where does that come
from? It's something that you call somebody. It means crack of the whip. So it's like it doesn't really make a. It's not like you're taking a person down. Like cracker. Yeah, well, yes. A white suit, some lemonade.
Where does honky come
mint
from?
julep.
Mint julep.
What about honky? Is honky what is that one?
I don't know how honky.
It's just a dumb word.
Some people say it's because of the way that white Americans talk.
Kind of nasally, honk.
Yeah.
Okay. That would make sense.
I don't think there's one white person that has been offended by that word.
Not a one. My daughter cried.
When she was called a honky?
Somebody called her a honky in school. Because they were trying to...
serious?
No, of course not.
I thought that's an awesome story.
That would have been a great story.
She was carrying a book and wearing sunglasses, and there was a bunch of black people calling her honky. And as the National Guard was leading her into a
right
segregated school.
Yes, exactly.
What happened, Jimmy?
I just saw Tom in the hall. He's like, I talked to him. I don't think it should have been done. I don't think that was Tom.
Oh well, F and A.
Am I in trouble now?
No, you're not.
No.
The guy is look. I know he's
bloody honky.
The guy turned.
You have to leave the country though.
You know how frustrating that is. That was probably the funniest segment of the entire show, and a lot of people didn't get to hear it because we got a panicky Pete on the button.
Yeah,
panicky Pete. Worried, but the racial
line
stuff,
of the day will be silent.
So can we say the word?
I would hope so. Yeah.
So Tom said it's okay.
He just said it shouldn't be. He said I talked to him. I'm like, Tom, the guy wrecked this segment. I know he's trying to do his job, but he wrecked this segment.
Yeah. Jim.
I mean, it happened.
Jim Jefferies, don't overdo it, but maybe you could. You could go back there.
Nignog's still a bad word. Is that one going to be?
Well, that's what
English people call black people.
Nignog. It's not even an American word.
No.
I'm not saying I agree with
those awful racist people.
Yes.
I really wish they wouldn't use this word.
My point is they used to in the 70s. They used to have a problem with black people. And then in the 80s, it became they had problems with the Indians and the Pakistanis was the big problem that they had, and they united about that. And then it was like after September the 11th, they had problems with Arab people. And now, since the EU has opened up, they hate the Polish people because the Polish people will do a kitchen for you for half the price. And the British are the laziest workers in the world, and everything's overcharged. I had some renovations done in my house. Of course I got Polish people in. I wouldn't make an English person make me anything. They couldn't build anything. They're drinking like 10 cups of tea a day, the lazy pricks. They really are. Like the average English person they work out drinks 4 cups of tea a day. Right now I live there. I'm part of their population. I don't drink any, so that means some bastard's having 8. Right? A day, every day.
Yeah.
It stopped us in our tracks here, though. So this sitcom, let's get back to that because that's interesting. The sitcom was called what?
Love Thy Neighbour.
Love Thy Neighbour.
And it still airs on Australian TV because don't even get me started on Australian racism.
That's another. They're in 70s racism.
But it's funny to hear racism from other countries. Like,
that's why this is interesting.
Yeah.
They're like, we call them kangaroo lovers. It's like, why? There's nothing here. But somebody's being bothered by it. But here.
And this sitcom is a black family
next door to
a white family and how they're going to get along.
It's called Love It. And they had another one called Mind Your English, which was like a guy who was an English teacher who taught English to foreigners, and there was every different type of nationality, and there was some great stereotypes in that sitcom.
Oh, that must be it right there.
If you're an Indian bloke, your head had to wobble in that sitcom. There was no other option. You know what I mean? It was that type of thing.
Yeah.
See, there's that's
Love Thy Neighbor, probably.
There's Love Thy Neighbor there.
And the Jeffersons living next door to each other because
I think
Wheezy always got along with Edith.
Yeah.
2 shows you really can't make nowadays.
No,
some of the greatest sitcoms ever.
No.
What about Charles in Charge? Good luck getting that one through.
Yeah.
I know.
We're going through the subject matter they touched on.
Eggert or whatever. What's her name?
Nicole Eggert.
Nicole Eggert. She was a good thing, wasn't she? What's happened to her? Is she still kicking about?
Nah, she kind of
got old.
Yeah, she screwed herself up. She got like implants and
I don't remember who she was.
Got those like soft.
She was like the 16-year-old on Charles in Charge, and then she became a Baywatch babe. But I liked her more when she was on Charles.
Charles in Charge,
because I was the same age as her or something, and I thought she was a bit special.
See, you understand where I come from because we always talk about who was hot when you were growing up watching television, and these guys are like they're picking like women. like Wonder Woman and this, and I was like, no, I was always into chicks that were my age on television.
I had a thing for Punky Brewster when I was 8 as well.
Right.
I'm serious. I used to think,
that age,
she's a good thing.
You're like,
I was 8 and she was 8.
You say, I'd like to go and hold hands with her.
I was.
The little innocent thing. I want to hold hands with Punky Brewster.
Yeah. But Solange Moon, I
was 20 at the time.
She grew up to be a good sort as well.
Oh, yeah, now you want to hold her globes.
I picked her right. I picked her at 8 that she was going to be a hottie at 20, and Solange Moon.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good sort.
Paid off.
Big titties on Solange Moon.
Well, that one.
What are we going to dump the word?
Can you believe they don't even like that word?
That one.
Even that sweet little word.
Look, we're all in agreement that one's going to be dumped.
When you go back to when you go back to some civilized nation, tell them the story of how we are just
how afraid of words.
How afraid of words Americans are.
Yeah, words hurt.
I wasn't being hateful.
No,
but even if your words should be allowed. It should be. It's not illegal to be hateful, even though you aren't being hateful. Yeah. We're the only country to drop a bomb. Can we lighten up?
Come on. We dropped 2 atom bombs.
Yeah. That was a lot of guilt.
What's wrong with a
lot of guilt there, Jim?
A funny word for boobies.
I know, and they were wonderful bombs.
But also, you can say boobies.
The whole thing with the
Yeah.
You can say boobies.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's silly sounding.
Well, to me, the thing also that's so fake about stuff like N-word is because nobody has a problem saying that.
No, they use it all the time now.
But it's exactly like saying the word. It's just white people getting away with saying that word. Because if you say N-word, you're putting that other word that I can't say on the radio in people's heads.
You know it, and you say it in your head.
So the person says, somebody on CNN says N-word, and then I go, oh, she means
yeah.
So she's making me say it.
But you
they don't want you just say it.
Watch where this is going to go, though. That word will be banned from radio shows.
After a while, you're not going to be able to say N-word.
And then TV shows are not going to say that either.
Yep.
They're going to have to come up with something else, and then that will be banned. And so on and so on and so on.
Is the N-word not banned? I thought it was banned.
It shouldn't be. No, people want it to
be
banned.
But after a while, you're not going to be able to say literally. Well, but it is funny. Like when you watch
same N-word.
Well, like what's his name? Mark Cohen. Remember him, comedian? He told me he was watching Blazing Saddles on TV, and they cut out the fart scene.
Oh yeah.
And they cut out every bad word. Down like even ass.
It's the whole movie.
But the N-word flying out of people's mouths.
Really?
I mean, it's all over Blazing Saddles. But it's like if the idea is not to offend people, you took out the farts and you left in the N-word.
Yeah.